Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to attempt to put our RV awning on the side of our cargo trailer. Our friends at Citrus RV hooked us up with a bunch of pieces of RV or awnings so we can get one good one put together. The one broken on this one is the arm on the one end, but we have another one with the spring. We're going to change that out first, then we'll hook our arms up to that, and then we'll try to get it mounted to the side kind of just briefly. The way this works out, it'll hit one stud in the cargo trailer, but it will not hit the other end. So we got bolts and nuts to go all the way through with fender washers, and it'll kind of push against the wood on the inside. We're going to do that for now, and then once we get some plate steel, we're going to weld it in there so it has something to mount to. But for the sake of this video and time and everything, this is what we're going to do. So the first things first, we're going to get this switched out. We'll show you how we do that on the awnings. If you had to ever change your fabric, or your spring's bad, or you got a powered awning like this one, you need to change the motor. It's pretty simple. You just drill out the 3 rivets, and then we'll re-rivet it back in once we have it. On the springs, they're supposed to be wound to a certain pre-tension. It's usually around 12 turns on these, so keep that in mind, and be careful if you're going to try it. I mean, you don't have to copy us. Don't copy us. This is just to show you what we did, not how to do it. But we use vice grips on there, and we spin it, and then there's a little kind of a hole there that goes through. If you can line up like I don't know, some kind of pick, or we use Allen keys to put through there to hold the tension in it while we put it on. But we're going to do that after, because we are going to change this. This fabric was old fabric on this awning. We have some new fabric to put up. We're excited to show you guys that. It's a new fabric to the market. It's nice and thick. It's pretty cool. So we'll show you that. It'll probably be the next video. This video is going to be getting this mounted on the wall. So let's get this end changed out, and then we can get it hung up there. All right, guys, the first thing we want to do, like I mentioned, is to drill these 3 rivets out. So that's what we're going to do now. You're just popping the heads off them like that. This is what is this, some 1364s? Yep, 1364s drill bit is what we're using. We're going to go around, do all 3 of those, and then this will come right out. We'll show you that. There we go. Don't be afraid to rock it a little bit to get the head off. Go. One thing too is, if you are taking this off to change your fabric for the first time, make sure you got that pin in here to hold this from spinning on you. We'll show you that in the different video on how to do that. So now that we got those pretty much drilled out, I'm going to make sure the heads are off them. There we go. Now that that's all done, we can pull that right out. That's what your spring thing looks like. And when you're winding that, this stays in place, and you're just winding 13 times to put pre-tension. But as you can see, ours broke. This was probably a RV awning that went through a windstorm or something. But we got another one of these. We're going to put that in now. All right, guys, we got our new one out of here. You can see the end is on here on this one. We gave this a quick spray down with some WD-40. It's all we had with us, but they do rust up a little bit. So we just put that on there. And when you put it in, you want this to line up with your other end, where it's going to end up. So we're just doing that briefly. Even though we're going to be winding it up, we still want it close. This is how this would go. But what we're going to do before we put that in, actually, is we're going to pull this old fabric off. Yeah, we're going to pull this old fabric off because it's going to be in the way, and you're going to need it off anyway. So let's do that first, I guess. Makes sense, right? Okay, before we pull this out, we want to mark which one of these channels is what. So we mark this one with a V for the valance. That's that smaller piece that hangs off. And then we got an A for the awning fabric, which will go in this channel here. That way, it goes back in the same way it was. That'll work for us. I got somebody on the other end holding the thing. We're just going to try to pull this right off if possible. Should come off fairly easy. Boom, that's done. We are going to put our cap on, like I said, because we're going to have to mount this, but we're going to have to drill it off again later in order to put our new fabric on. But that's okay, because we need to get this mounted first. So we're going to put that spring back in there. We got to pay attention to where this side's sitting. It's pointing out that way. See if we can get this in there. Okay, we're finishing putting this in here. You'll see this little cutout, at least on ours, and inside here there's a little like key. You want to try to fit it in there. Once you line that up, it'll go on and all your holes will line up. So we have that, and it's facing with the other one. Remember, like I said, we're going to still have to tension this later, 12 turns, but for now this is where we're set. We're going to put our rivets in here. I need a bigger work area. There we go. That size is working. Now these are 3/16 by 3/8 aluminum rivets that we're going to use in here. If you don't have one of these, man, do I recommend it if you're doing a lot of this stuff. All right, we got our rivets in there, and this is riveted. Our next step is we're going to put the arms on here, because we need to make sure they're straight up and down before we hang them. We also want to make sure our cargo trailer is level, because otherwise, that way it gives us something to go off from when we're putting these arms on. Because you can see the arms could do this, and if they did that, it would never roll up right. So we want to make sure they're hanging straight down once we put the arm on. So let me get one of the arms here. Now, if you're putting one on new for the first time, the end with the wires in it, your arm that has the wire in it for the plug, that's going to go for the motor, that's going to go on the motor side. This particular one doesn't have the wire; it goes on this side. This is the idler side with the spring in it. So, can you move that for a second? Okay, now you'll see right here we got the hole in here. That's where the bolt's going to go. This literally slides right on here, if you guys could see that. It literally slides right on there, and then you put your bolt in there, which we got some new ones of that. All right, normally this just has one bolt in there that goes through. What we're going to end up doing is these eyelets. That'll help us when we want to do tie downs on here to tie it to the ground and anchor it. So that's what we're doing with that. These are a little longer than we need. We can cut them back, but it's the shortest ones we could find. You're just going to do this on both sides until it bottoms out, and then put the nut on the back just to lock it in, even though it does thread in. And these are 1/4 inch, if I didn't mention that. You probably only need them 1.5 inches, and these are 2.5, so we'll have to cut it like 1 inch off, but it will work nicely. Right there, that's what how we're gonna do it. And we're gonna do that same thing on the other side, and then we can go on to getting it probably lined up on the top. So, and then don't forget, put your nut on the back. All right, we got both our eyelets in there, and they're set where we need them. Now we got to get this whole thing turned around, because the motor end we want at this end, which is how it's going to mount on there anyway, because this goes flat against your trailer. Plus all our power to our solar system we did on this. If you haven't seen that, check out the video. I'll try to leave a tag here somewhere or down below. But we did our solar system in here. That's how we're going to power this. So we're just going to spin this around. Keep our hands so them arms don't open up. Getting a little windy out here today, guys. It's supposed to rain here shortly, so we're getting done what we can. The next step we're going to do is level this trailer, make sure it's good and level before we try to put those up there. Like I said, we got to have a good base to start with, and then we can commence to mounting, starting with the first arm here, closest here. Get that arm nice and level, then we can go on. But we're only going to be able to hit a stud on this end, like we said. We already marked up there where it's going to be. So that's where the first hole we want to drill is going to be there. And then we're going to come down, make sure it's level, and it should hit the stud in this spot theoretically if these were made right. So that's our goal with that. But let me get a level so we can get this leveled out. All right, we got our trailer leveled out. You can see the bubble there right in the center. So our trailer's starting from level. Now we can back out of here, and then when we put our arm up here, we'll put the level on the arm and make sure the arm is straight too before we drill our first. We got self tappers we're going to put in there. We'll make sure we're good and level before we put that in, and then we'll be good to go. We're going to put the arms right up along that, underneath that. You guys can see it up there, right along there. We're going to put it right tight up against there. Give us a good place to start, and then just hang the leg down. So that's what we're going to do. All right, we're set. We got our ladder here, our things level. I got my helper down here to help lift the awning. On the back of your awning, if you're putting it up for your final time, you're going to want to put butyl tape on the back of your arm to where the holes are going to be. But we know we're going to take ours back down again because there's a couple other things we want to do with the metal we're going to put in. So this is kind of just mocked up there. It'll be up there to work, but we know we're pulling it down here in a few weeks just to put that metal in. So we're not going to put it on there right now. We're getting everything mocked up. We got our self-tapping screws we're going to use to put in there. These are stainless. If you have those, recommend those. But that's where we're going to start with this first leg, and we'll get it mounted up there. All right, this is on the inside of the trailer. You can see, since we don't have the metal in place behind here and it just missed the stud, we are putting a fender washer with a lock nut. That's going to hold it for now until we get our metal. Then we're going to take these off, weld in the metal plate, and have it go through that. That way it'll be good and durable. But we're going to tighten these down. We already have them on both ends already. And then we have that pretty much mounted. So let's get these tightened up. Hey, lovely people, we are back. And we got rained out, so we had to step away for a time. That's why I'm in a different shirt. But we got this mounted up here. Like I said, it is temporary for us because we're going to be putting metal plates in behind there once we get some plates cut to the size we need. But for now, it's mounted in. We have the bolts and the nuts we showed you, so they're sandwiched nice. It's nice and tight. So now that we got that, the next thing we need to do is we have to put our channel up there that takes the top part of the awning. We're going to put butyl on this because we don't have to take this back off. So we're going to put the butyl tape on that. We already wiped it off. We need this whole length, plus we have another small piece we're going to need a piece of. So that's what we're going to do right now, is put our butyl tape on the back end of this, and then we can get that up there. And it's going to go right along that top part of the silver part you see. It's going to go right up against the top of there. That'll keep it straight and in good line with what we're doing. So that's what we're up to next. So let's get going. All right, we have the butyl all down this piece. It did come with these type of nut driver screws that kind of match the color of it. But I think I'm going to use my stainless steel ones just because I don't like the rust when it happens. So we got stainless steel self-tappers as well. We're going to use those instead, and we're going to put this piece up. Then we'll put our other piece up, measure where we have to cut, and we'll cut that off. So let's get going. Have that in all the way up top with our butyl behind it. We have this all mounted, so we're almost ready for fabric. We did drill a hole through the side for the wires. They're going inside. See if I could show you guys. You can see it hanging down here, right here. So it's coming inside. We're just going to run it across the top and over to our setup we have over there for power. But and then we'll run it to the switch and everything. But for now, we are done with this part. It looks awesome. On to the switch. All right, guys, we are down here. We're going to tap into our fuse panel of our solar system. Our solar setup we did. We're going to probably go on this side. We're going to use a 15 amp fuse. We'll come out of there, and then we'll go straight up and we'll join in up top. We're going to put the switch right above the door, dead center, so we can look at the awning while we're trying to do it easy enough. Or we might put it over there, but we already had a couple switches over there, so might not. It might just be above the door. Looks pretty good for now. But that's what we're going to do. We're just going to put our terminal ends. Oh, get this out of the way. We're going to put our terminal ends that you see these on our wire so we can hook it into that fuse panel, and then we can commence to hooking up the rest. So here we go. All right, guys, we got our wire in there. You can see our positive there, our negative up there. Our fuse we don't put in yet because the other end of the wires are live. It comes up along the wall. You're going to see it here. It's going to come up and over the door. And that's the last piece of wire we had, so it only reaches so far. So this is our temporary mount for this switch. The OCD's killing me with that switch being crooked, but it's going to work for now. It's going to allow us to get the wires on there until I can find a box that'll work for that. Because the walls of this trailer are only 1 inch thick, and this is over 1 inch depth-wise by the time you put the wires on. So it won't work if I cut it into the wall. So I'll have to come up with some kind of box that fits that in it. And then it'll come, the wire here from the awning will come in and get to the switch, and that'll be long enough there. So, but we ran out of some supplies, so we got to run to the hardware store. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow, which will be only a couple seconds for you, but catch you then. All right, guys, we are back at it. Day 2 for us, but quick for you. We just ran out of a couple things, and the rain kind of washed us out, so to speak. So we went and picked up some more butyl tape, and we got the female connectors we need to hook that to the back of the switch. I also picked up a little box for that switch, because how we rigged it up inside, we showed you, and you seen earlier in the video, it's just we had 2 pieces of wood. So we got this smaller box, and we're going to try to make something to make this work so it looks halfway decent. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to finish putting the rest of this butyl on that one small end piece you've seen us put up, and then we're going to put our switch in here and put the ends on the wires, and that part's done. And then in the next video, because this video will probably be long enough, you'll see us put the new fabric on this roller and how to install that. We'll give you guys a heads up. And it's pretty good fabric. It's really thick stuff. It's a new one on the market. We can't wait to show you that. So let's get on and finishing this up, and we'll go do the next part. All right, guys, we are inside now. We got the butyl all put on there and all the screws in, so that rail is ready to go. When it comes to the arms, once we take the roller back off to put the new fabric on, we're probably going to take the arm back off one by one. It'll be easier to maneuver, and put the butyl behind there now that we got it mocked up. If you've seen earlier in this video, we put like 2 of these together with this switch in between it because we needed that gap to hook the wires up. We had something like that. It looked really ghetto, but it would have worked for a time. But since we had to cut it short and go to the store anyway, we're going to use this box. These holes here are 3.5 inches. These here are 2.5 inches, so it won't line up. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of plywood down, mount that in there, and then put this in here. It'll look way better. Then we'll just mount this up there on the wall, and then we could knock out one of these knockouts for the wires to come in. It'll look much better. So that's what we're getting ready to do now. We're just going to measure what size piece of plywood we need, cut that to size, route the edges, make it look nice, cut the hole for the switch part to go in, then we'll mount it all together. So let's go. All right, guys, took about a half hour or so, but we cut this piece of wood, we routed the edges, we put it on this box and made it fit, then we cut the hole for our switch. So it's going to look pretty good on there, just like that. And that's going to go, you guys probably can't see it, but it's going to go up here in the corner. That way it's hidden out of the way, and it's not confused with all our other switches, because we have switches for outside lights, switches for lights over the bench, and we have a dimmer switch for all the lights that run through the whole trailer. So it's going to look good. So I'm going to mount this up there, and I'm going to get the wires ran in, put the female ends on the wires so they just plug into the back of the switch. Then we'll know which is in and then which is out. So here we go. We have this mounted up there. It looks pretty decent for what it is, especially with the wood matching the wood. We got the wires in there all wired up on both sides. Next is going to be putting the fabric on the awning. Then we can test everything, make sure it works. But that's going to be it for this video. We got everything hooked up nicely. You can see it out here. It's mounted to the wall nice. We got butyl tape around the hole up there on that track. All butyl tape is around all of that. It is screwed in nice. Like I said, the next step is to take this roller off. We'll wind up the spring to get the tension on it, and then we'll get our fabric started. So that's going to be in the next video. All right, like I was saying, that putting the fabric on is going to be in the next video. You guys have any questions on how we did it or what we did? Like I said, it's not really a how-to, it's how we did, just so you can see how we did it, give you guys some ideas. There's things that we wish we would have did differently, but then again, we don't have metal in every part behind this. So for now, the way we did it works great. And then once we get our metal pieces, we'll put that on. But for now, it looks pretty good on the side there, especially being the dark color with the dark, because we have a silver and there's black on the trailer in places, so it looks pretty good. Okay, once again, we'd like to thank Citrus RV for hooking us up with all the parts and pieces of this awning. Makes our job a lot easier than trying to chase it down. He had a bunch of pieces laying around and he hooked us up with them, so thanks again. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below. Let us know that you watched this video. Hit that thumbs up button, give us a like and a subscribe. And if we used anything that you're interested in, it'll probably be a link to it down below. The affiliate links probably through Amazon. They help support the channel without any effect to you. I appreciate the support. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching and try something new.